Two dudes making noise, talking about pro wrestling on the podcast. Big up boys, big loony guys. We be throwing down the rhymes, kicking it live, representing the Lone Star State every damn time.
Whoa, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ring Rundown, episode number 17. 17. As you guys can see, we got a special guest with us tonight. We got the homie Kreyz McKormik up there in the fucking Michigan. What's up, big dog? How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Things are doing great for me. Living in abundance in my mom's basement. It's been great.
I respect that about you, bro. Because like, if I totally could, if I wasn't married and had all kind of responsibilities, which I'm pretty sure you do too, I would totally be living in my mom's basement. Like, man, every time I lived in my mom's basement, I was able to save so much money. And now I hate the fact that I get bills and they have my name on it now. And
the beauty of it is that, like, despite me living in my mom's basement, like, I still have bills that I take care of. I have my own computer. I buy my own things. I have my own internet. And I'm still able to save up money or blow it on pointless shit.
I still blow my money on pointless shit from time to time, even though, like, you know, I'm adulting it. But, like, I respect that about you, and that the fact that you own it, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, SP, big dog? How's it going, man?
Not much, man. Your boy's fighting a little, kind of getting over a sinus infection, man, after TNA weekend last weekend, man. It just hit earlier in the middle of the week. So
you got that shit. You got that shit, bruh. You got that COVID.
Nah.
I mean
that
pandemic.
We took a couple. We took some COVID tests, and they both came back negative, man. It's just sinus BS right up in here, man.
I got you.
I'm a little stuffy nose right now, but I'm here, man. We just came back from a show called Slam Portal. It was a free wrestling show, and we ended up coming across a Juggalo homie wrestler. His name was Atomic Dory, and he came out to the intro to Riddlebox, and we was all whooping him and family, and
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so hopefully would love to get him here on a show with the interview and get his takedown on what he is for him being a pro wrestler and on the indie scene and just being a juggalo. So
that's pretty awesome. If you guys don't realize, then this is our 17th show, and this will be a JCW/Juggalo focused show. That's why we have the homie Kreyz McKormik with us. I couldn't think of a better guest to have with us. So, yeah. So, with all that out of the way,
we all know what the number 17 means in the Juggalo world.
665, baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you can take it as per Jay's word from O2 GOTJ seminar is the amount of copies that Carnival of Carnage sold when it came out. So.
Which, you know, at the very beginning of their career as musicians, like, there was nothing that they had planned on, whether it be using the number 17, calling us juggalos, but everything kind of just works out. It's interesting too, aside from wrestling, and this is just me, my personal fucking interest, is that 17 is actually a spiritualistic number too. It's supposed to be a positive number. Kind of ironic now that I think about it, that it's such a positive number in the realm of spirituality, and it's also tied in with the Juggalo stuff as well.
That's pretty fucking fresh. I did not know that.
I just found out in the last year.
You never watched the O2 GOTJ seminar on the Wraith Shangri-La DVD?
I did watch it. I did see people ripping up the posters they had. But I don't remember it. I do remember Shaggy dancing on stage and saying he doesn't smoke weed, but that's pretty much all I remember about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no. In that, he talked about how Carnival Carnage, when it was first released, only sold 17 copies. So they
on
took
its
that.
First day.
Yep, on its first day. So they just
look. Y'all are both older than me, so you'll probably know a lot more about the lore than I do. Okay, so there we go.
Well, I mean, and don't forget, I mean, so you got to figure that numbers have a lot of synology with the Juggalo world. I mean, I talked to, you remember, not Pickles, but Pickle, the old psychopathic merch guy. He told me that the reason why Zug Island's second album 333 came out was because wherever they went, that was the number that they kept getting. So a hotel room 333, gas station 333. So they're like, okay, this is a sign. So
And there's also 4 songs on that album that are 3 minutes and 33 seconds long.
exactly.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
that's another spiritualistic number as well. I should look these up just for the sake of it.
When you're outmatched by your Juggalo lore, I thought I knew a lot, but god damn it, I guess I don't.
Well, I mean,
these,
you know,
these
you don't even
OGs,
have
bro.
to attribute. You don't even have to attribute, you know, this numerology to the Juggalo world. I mean, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, you know, his $7 Productions, he's talked about multiple times, is because when he was on his own, he only had $7 in his pocket to his name. So
I do know that Ouija's label is called Chapter 17, if that counts for anything.
Well, the reason why it's chapter 17
God damn it!
because of the behind the paint book doesn't have a 17th chapter. It also doesn't have a 17th page.
Okay, like I listened to the whole Behind the Paint album. I really did. While I was a truck driver, I listened to the whole entire thing.
Oh yeah.
And
I uploaded it to my YouTube music, so I'll listen to it when I get bored.
yeah, like I listened to the whole thing. Then I passed it on to another guy that was just becoming a Juggalo, and I was like, "Well, you need to listen to this," so I passed it on to him.
As a matter of fact, I'll show you. So, like in Behind the Paint, so like I can't tell if you can see it or not, but there's page 16 right there.
kind of
So
see
when you
it.
turn the
just goes to
page,
next chapter.
Hang on, you want me to?
Nope.
Hang on, I'm a full
yeah,
screen.
go ahead
you.
and full screen me.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so if you look, there's page 16 right here, and when you turn the page, you would expect it to be page 17, but it's not. It's page 18.
I never knew that. That's
So
pretty fucking
they-
fresh.
Yep, they purposefully left page page 17 as well as chapter 17 out of there because of the fact that they considered with the number 17 being considerably sacred in Juggalo culture, which, by the way, I did recently look it up. On Google, it says that if you're seeing the number 17 often, it might mean that your guardians are trying to tell you something. And 333, as we mentioned before, encourages to set plans into action and to let your personal strength be the guide, to trust yourself and put thought into your choices. And to me, like spiritual meanings is interesting to me. So like
As it should be.
I'll take that type of shit to heart.
That's pretty awesome. Like, yeah, I didn't know all that. Now I feel schooled. Damn it. All right.
Knowing is half the battle. And the
Hell
other
yeah.
half is red and blue lasers.
Oh yeah, but what do you have going on, Kreyz McKormik? We want to know about what you got going. You gonna start that gaming channel up yet, or what?
I'm actually like.
I mean, I know you
Currently,
started it, but you know.
Well, I mean, after a very long hiatus on my YouTube channel, and I also kind of went ghost on my Twitch channel. I just recently come back to YouTube after the gathering. The gathering this year for me was very inspiring to want to come back to doing stuff on YouTube, not just my own stuff, but obviously other channels. And so I decided to come back, and right now I'm only doing a weekly podcast that's purely
I've been watching.
Juggalo related. The Crazy House on my channel at Kreyz McKormik. So currently I'm just trying to put my toe in the water. And right now that's the only thing that I'm doing Sundays, 9 p.m. standard time, is doing episodes of The Crazy House where I talk about Juggalo news. I react to music videos that are from Juggalo related musicians. And I'm trying to expand that to try to do other things on the show. As of right now, that's the only thing that I have planned. But I am planning on trying to make a return doing video game related content on both YouTube and Twitch. I'm debating whether or not I want to try to do something that's members only, But I haven't really set anything in stone as of right now.
I got you. I mean, I would love to see more content from you, bro. You're an interesting person, and yeah, I want to know more about your gaming exploits, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
If you ever need a co-streamer, you know what I'm saying, holla at your boy. Hint, hint.
Like, I'll flat out tell you, like, I've done a lot of co-streams. And
he's gonna be like, "Fuck you! No, you're an asshole."
No. I like you, you know, but like, it's like, sorry, not sorry, but I come to the realization after being on YouTube for as long as I have. I've tried collabing with other channels. I've tried working with other people, and it just works best for me if I'm a lone wolf.
I feel that. That's kind of like me with gaming. Everybody's always wanting me to play multiplayer games with them, and I'm terrible at it. I like to play at my own pace. I totally understand that.
Yeah, the last multiplayer game that I actually played was.
I tried to invite you on Xbox, and you were like, "What the fuck's Xbox Live?" I was like, "Dude," I was like,
I'm not an Xbox guy. Like, for a vast majority of my history, more into retro shit, and then anything that's modern is mostly PlayStation. Like, I got a PlayStation 5 before I got the Series XS.
Are you gonna get the Pro?
Probably not. My son's got a Pro. My
PlayStation 5 Pro already? It's not even out yet.
Not the smaller edition, because I got this fat one.
Yeah, I still have my first one since like it released. And
Yeah,
I think I'm
got
gonna
the
keep
fat
that.
boy, and he's got the smaller version of it.
Yeah, I was gonna think about upgrading to the Pro, but like then they said it's $700 without a disc drive. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, like, anybody who knows me knows that when it comes to me and my gameplay, I prefer to have physical copies.
Yeah, me too, as you can see back there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see it through mine, but like, I have almost 1,000 games between all of the systems that I have. I'd rather just have the physical copies.
Yeah, I like to hold something in my hands, and plus it looks fresh as shit on your.
Exactly.
I mean, as you.
All right.
I knew he was coming in. I knew he was gonna tell us to shut the fuck up.
Sticks away, man. Let's get into this Juggalo shit. You know.
All right.
This is what we're here for, man.
All right, Mr. Pops.
Man, we are here trying to spread this Juggalo love, man.
You're just mad because we ain't talking about Pops right now. That's the only thing.
It's like, this is the wrong nerd shit we should be talking about.
If you don't see, that motherfucker got 1 million pops behind him. I don't know if you see that.
I was gonna say, speaking of spending pointless money on useless shit, take a look at the fucking pops that he's got in the
That motherfucker got a pops room, bro. Like that's insane.
Bro, I have a game room over there that's dedicated to retro shit.
So do I. Look,
like,
it's right behind me. I'm in it right now.
Right? I mean,
So,
at least, like,
right.
when I get out of mom's basement, it will look much fresher. Trust me.
All right, you got that. All right, so let's get into our topic of the week. Belts. Which ones do you guys don't like? What is your least favorite World Championship Wrestling belt? Or Championship Wrestling belt, for that matter. I know SP has a lot to say, so which one do you hate, bro? Go ahead and say it.
Honestly,
mine was that stupid 24/7 title, man. I hated that title.
That green belt. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the green belt with gold plate. They just said 24/7. I'm like, what are we working at a Waffle House now or what? Like, maybe that's what they should have changed it to, the Waffle House title.
I have to say mine, and I may take a lot of heat for this. I was never a big fan of the spinner belt. The John Cena spinner belt, I just didn't like it.
That was cool for the time that it came out.
I mean, guess
we're talking 2005 when spinners was all the rage and everything like that. So that was a cool concept for him to pull out.
I even had like spinner hubcaps on my Toyota Camry when I was in high school. So I can't say much, but
the ones that you just popped over your regular hubcaps,
bruh, they were $30 at AutoZone. That's what I had. He just popped them over your hubcaps. And there you go.
Those are the ones that you had to get out and just spin yourself because they didn't work, weren't they?
Exactly, bro. Hey, I was scrubbing it all the way. I made the best of what I could. I couldn't afford the real spinners.
See, like, both of you guys have good points, and I have to agree with both of you, because I was going to say the 24 title. The only thing that actually made that belt any bit interesting was R-Truth.
Exactly. That's the only person.
I have to give a little bit of credit to Rockstar Spud or Drake Maverick. He actually did some pretty good stuff with it too. Like, he defended it at his wedding.
It was the constant back and forth between Truth and Spud or Drake. Like
he defended it at his wedding, bro. Like that was
he defended it on his honeymoon. Okay, like come on.
See, like why I think R-Truth made that interesting was because it was like right after the whole Little Jimmy thing, and he's like going through that crazy gimmick where he's like making up shit, mixing up matches and stuff. Like, wasn't there like there was a time where, like, when he ended up he was in the Royal Rumble and he pulled out a ladder because he thought it was a ladder match. You know?
Oh, so and then he ran out during the women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I believe that was this year's Royal Rumble, and I believe the latter one was last year's.
See, like, so he's going through this kind of like mental instability gimmick, and what made that was what made the 24/7 title the most interesting, because he kept on calling it like the 24/7 European. You know, he's like naming off all.
Yeah, it was like the 24/7 European I-95 championship belt, something like that. But
yeah, and but that was like the only thing that made it interesting. Like, the title belt as a whole, the whole concept of the 24/7 title was basically just an aired out version of the hardcore title. And
you're exactly right.
That's why I didn't like it. That's why nobody liked it. As for, I didn't know that you were going to bring up variations of the heavyweight title. Or actually, I should say the WWE Championship. Because, like, yeah, the spinner belt, the only person that should have had the spinner belt was John Cena, because it fit his mold. Just because he was the top guy doesn't mean that everybody should have held it. Otherwise, they would have done the same thing with the United States title when he won that and turned that into a spinner belt.
Well, that was the first one that he turned into the spinner belt.
Yeah. You know, but like, for its time and place during that era, John Cena, because he was doing the whole rapper gimmick before he became Super Cena the Marine and all
Loops.
That. Yeah, exactly.
Fruit Loops.
That dude wears a thong. I don't know if you ever saw that, but sometimes when he's like bended over, he wears a purple thong.
I think they just about all of them do. So,
but yeah, like,
do you SP?
I mean, there were like so many titles.
He did mention.
I mean, I focused primarily. I focused primarily when watching pro wrestling. Focused primarily on WWE, WCW, ECW. I barely watched TNA. I mean, like, so
TNA is where it's at, bro. Like, it's
like,
pretty fucking
liked
good
its
now.
I liked its X division until they decided, oh yeah, now it's a cruiserweight title. Oh, wait, what? Why is it now a cruiserweight only title? Abyss has held it in the past. Like, the X division,
Samoa Joe
held it. I mean, Samoa Joe competed in an Ultimate X match for that title.
And so is Jeff Jarrett as well. Like, I've seen matches with Jeff Jarrett doing the X Division title.
I mean,
he can't even do a moonsault.
I mean, that's what made TNA stand out from the rest, especially in their X Division. They declared it wasn't about weight limits; it was about no limits, you know. And then they just went and changed it to a weight division only, and it just kind of lost its appeal then. So
sidebar.
I lost interest.
Sidebar for me, I think one of the best X Division champions ever was what's his name? The guy with the red hair.
AJ Styles?
No.
I know you're a big AJ Styles.
Shut up. I love AJ Styles. That's my favorite wrestler in the world.
Amazing Red or Chris Sabin?
Amazing Red. I think he was probably one of the best freaking Especially in the Asylum days, he was probably one of the best X Division champions ever. Like, he did
Jerry
shit.
Lynn was pretty good as well too.
Oh yes, for sure. But yeah, it's a lot of eulogy, a lot of history with the X Division. The other belt that I would say I hate is the Universal title. Not so much as it is now, but that big red title, I didn't like that either.
Oh yeah. See, like, what bothers me the most, I feel like I'll have to say this: I don't really like the reintroduction of the World Heavyweight. If I'm gonna be,
I think it was needed because, like, I think they need to change the name of the Universal title. That sounds so stupid, and that's a McMahon name.
Well, for me, what bothers me the most about the World Heavyweight title is that implies a weight limit.
Mm.
So why is it that Seth Rollins has the World Heavyweight title when he weighs less than 235 pounds?
Seth Rollins like 200 pounds. He's a pretty big dude. In person.
The weight limit
Yeah.
for a heavyweight title should be 235 pounds and higher.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
usually how it is. Anything less than that is light heavyweight, cruiserweight, welterweight. If you're going to call it a heavyweight title, put it on somebody who is a heavyweight.
Like a Braun Strowman or Brock Lesnar or Samoa Joe or a Bronson Reed or a Braun Breaker, somebody who's got like a lot of power behind there.
And so like a brick shithouse.
So my question for you, Crazy, is we go back and forth in this. Do you think there's too many titles at this point?
Well, yes and no, because it gets to a point now. WWE has 3 brands, so each brand has to have a primary title.
I feel that.
A secondary title, a tag title, a women's title, and then like between all 3 brands,
you got to have your mid card title somewhere in there.
You have to have the Intercontinental.
Well, that would be the Intercontinental title, and I think the North American NXT, the United States title. But like, if you have like a tiered, I don't know how to pronounce it, tiered title, blah blah blah. You know, because that's like for your cruiserweights, for your hearts, and you know, your TV champion, you know, stuff like that. Each brand's got to have that kind of stuff, but like overall, it ends up becoming like, okay, there's got to be one above it all. Which, ironically, WWE is starting to turn into its own version of NWA. With the territories, if you think about it, because each one's got like their primary, their secondary, tag titles, women's title, and then you've got like the top dog who should have the universal title.
I think there's too many belts, but I would so be down for. I want them to bring back the hardcore title. Maybe like name it the Extreme Rules title. That was my favorite title of all time. Was the hardcore title. And
I would call it the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
That is a mouthful, and that oh man, you'd have to probably do an acronym with that one.
So
that's a lot.
The script from least favorite wrestling belt to favorite wrestling belt, for me, that's the title that I like the most. The reason being is
that was mine too.
Being a parody of the hardcore title, and it got so out of control that there's not only people in the wrestling business that have held that title, but there are also people who are outside of the business who have held the wrestling title, and inanimate objects that have held the wrestling title.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even sportscasters from other, like from ESPN held titles, and even like musicians held the title and stuff like that. But I know a couple of the comments that we had from Johnny Cervantes said that his favorite one was the Smoking Skull, the OG Smoking Skull belt, and least favorite is the newer version of the US title.
Why are you doxing my boy online?
And then I gotta kind of agree with him on the new US title. You know, it looked too gaudy when they first debuted it during that first year of the pandemic when they were at the Performance Center.
See, like if you're going for like style points for a world, for any type of title or anything like that, I have to either I'm an Attitude Era guy. So the WWE title at the time during the Attitude Era was one of the best looking, I think. And then the same thing goes for the WCW World Heavyweight title.
The big gold one.
The big gold boy. I loved that because it screamed prestige. And they actually acknowledged with the WCW title prior to the reboot, they acknowledged all the way back to what was his name, George Hackenschmidt, the the first ever person who held that title in 1905. Like, they accepted that lineage because the WCW title did come from NWA when Ric Flair was still holding it during Mid-Atlantic, when I believe it was Ric Flair that was holding it at the time, when Ted Turner bought Mid-Atlantic and turned it into WCW. So like, and just the look of it, the way that it looked, the size of that belt, it demanded respect and it just screamed prestige. As for WWE, if it didn't have an eagle, I didn't care.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because the eagle has always been a thing as far back as I can remember with the WWE World Heavyweight title, even back when it was in the WWF.
Did they have an eagle on the spinner belt? I don't remember.
No.
I think they might have, or like at the very top of the spinner part, it might have been that, but it's very hard.
I don't believe so, because when Cena won the title from JBL at WrestleMania 21, it was that old school when they first made it the undisputed heavyweight championship with Brock Lesnar. Is when they first debuted that belt, and then when Cena won it, it was later on that week when he introduced the brand new spinner belt, and I don't believe it had the eagle on it. I think that's when they got rid of it and they just had the champion, or World Wrestling Entertainment champion, whatever.
But so yeah, just to recap, least favorite title, mine is probably out of the first iteration of the Universal title and the what was the other one? Crap. What? I blank all the time, damn it, ASP. You got to stop letting me do this.
It did.
Probably the I know yours was the 24/7 title. Mine was the Universal title, and the spinner belt. So, Crazy. Do you have one that?
Yeah, yours was, your first one was the spinner belt.
The spinner belt. Crazy. What's your least favorite? Just to recap.
Actually, like, I would have to say for purposes, I have to agree that it was the 24/7 belt. I thought that whole concept was trash.
The baby green shit belt.
Yeah, like, I hated that. Just it was an eyesore, and it was a disappointment, and I still haven't forgiven Mick Foley for introducing it.
Oh, I didn't even realize he introduced it. Ew.
Yeah. For in style, honestly, I really don't like the universe.
Yeah, I don't love that horrible shade of red. I don't know why. It's just, I can't get behind. I think they actually finally should rename the Universal title to another name, like the WWE Championship or something.
Yeah, they probably will eventually. And like, what I don't like is, I just don't like the lack of design quality to it. It just looks too plain. It doesn't have it like the WWE logo on the front, with it being so thin, and it doesn't look as blinged out as it should. It just doesn't feel like it's a prestigious looking title.
I would take the spinner belt over it, to be honest with you.
Which by the way, since you brought that back up, I just looked that up, and I'm looking at the picture right now. There is, in fact, an eagle on the top.
Okay.
Oh, SP was corrected. Mr. Wrestling Historian was corrected. I'm just messing with you, bro.
Hey, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. All right, if I'm corrected on something, I have no problem saying, "All right, my bad."
I wish you can tell that to my wife and let her know that too, but that doesn't always happen. All right, so moving on. Where do y'all want to go next?
Let's get into some JCW news, man.
Yes.
Where should we go first? You want to start at the beginning with the original JCW videos, the original DVDs, volume 1, 2, and 3?
Works for me. So, if you notice how JCW at the very beginning was Juggalo Champion Shit Wrestling instead of Championship, as it turned into later on down the road. I mean, you know, this was just a collection of matches that they filmed there. I believe it was St. Andrews Hall.
I believe so as well.
Yeah, like I remember actually picking up these DVDs when I first became a Juggalo back in the day. Like I am not a Riddle Box era. I'm not a Great Malenko era. I'm actually the Calm era Juggalo. I was way late. Y'all are older than me. Got to remember that.
Don't hurt him. He's just a boy.
I know. So I'm a 35-year-old boy, but yes, I'm just a boy.
And I mean, don't forget the ring in this DVD. It was extremely super over padded. I mean, they were sinking into the ring when they would walk on it. I mean, I don't know if you remember seeing that.
And I remember I got the DVD at Sam Goody. That's how long ago it was. Yeah.
That takes me back.
I got the first 3 DVDs, and they were already in the clearance section at Sam Goody, and that's how I was able to afford all 3.
Buy for me, for all 3 of them, I think that's where I got mine, was Best Buy.
You want to talk about that ring? I remember that fucking ring broke. The second rope broke when M-Dog tried to do it. That
was part 3.
That was in
all right, fine.
That was in volume 3,
okay.
And that was I believe that was
M-Dog 20 versus Josh Prohibition.
Wasn't that the curtain jerk match on top of it? Like, wasn't that the very first match of the entire DVD? And then throughout the rest of the show, you see that they never actually fixed the fucking thing.
I believe so.
I remember them never actually fixing it. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I remember M-Dog going for a moonsault.
A second rope moonsault.
And it just
outside the ring, and it just snapped.
So if I remember correctly, in the first JCW, like one thing for sure, that ring had probably about 6 inches of padding. Oh, look at me. So that was the first thing. The inauguration of the JCW
title.
Well, that came up later, but there were matches that they wanted to show where it was like 2 women in a thumbtack match. One woman, Chick Foley, and the other one, Angel, who for painted up like Violent J. They had King Kong Bundy versus the Rude Boy, who is a good friend.
I thought that was Tom Dub. I thought it was Tom Dub versus King Kong.
Okay, yeah.
And I think I remember Tom Dub hiding underneath the ring from
King Tom Kong. Dub. Yeah. He was hiding out. He was hiding out in one of the locker rooms because he didn't want to go.
Okay, so then maybe so I was wrong.
Yeah, it was Tom Dub versus King Kong Bundy.
It was Rudy versus Abdullah the Butcher.
Yep.
If I'm not. Yep. So yeah. Well, I haven't watched the DVD in forever.
Same here.
Like my excuses.
I remember them showing. Was Kamala involved? I believe he was.
Kamala wasn't involved, I think, until JCW.
Not until 3, I believe.
Volume 3.
I remember him being in the bathroom and they being
blowing up the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
So the double main event of the first DVD was to crown the World Heavyweight Champion and the Tag Team Champions, which they had a multi-man battle royal. It was a hardcore battle royal. the only big names that they had in really were Twisted, the character Evil Dead, which speculatively speaking could have possibly been Violent J's brother Jump Steady under a stupid rubber mask, but that's purely speculation. But the only other main name that I believe that was in the Battle Royal was the Rock and Roll Express.
I believe so as well. But I mean, you had the Iron Sheik taking on somebody in there. Then you had the appearance of Raven at the very end as well.
Yes, and Balls Mahoney, I think too.
I believe Balls may have been in that.
Yeah, because the main event, the headlining main event was Doink the Clown and Doink the Clown versus the Insane Clown Posse for the JCW Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
One of the main things I remember is the chick that Madman Pondo that was with Madman Pondo show her titties. I remember
that was number 2.
Yeah, I do remember that, and they were disgusting looking.
So this I found interesting. Another person that was in the Battle Royal is now actually a former JCW World Heavyweight title holder, Richie Boy Briar Wellington. Actually, there might be a couple of other people that were in that Battle Royal who later became JCW champions.
I do remember who won. It was Evil Dead was the first inaugural JCW champion, which was Jump Steady under a mask.
Speculatively.
Speculation.
Okay.
Speculation.
That's pure speculation.
Speculation.
That's pure speculation. Okay, my bad.
No, look. As a Juggalo, I personally believe that it was an actual dead body that won the title.
Protect kayfabe at all costs.
I
Protect
remember seeing
kayfabe at all
Evil
costs.
Dead on the Wicked Wonka tour, and there's no way that could have been Jump Steady underneath that mask.
No way. Like, protect kayfabe at all costs. Protect kayfabe at all costs. But
like the beauty of Evil Dead though, that he feels no pain and he'll be kicking ass, and then at the last second he just realizes, oh yeah, that's right, I'm dead, and then he just drops dead. But then he'll just come back and continue kicking ass.
I remember him falling out on the way to the ring, and they had to wake him up.
I mean, he's a dead body. What do you expect? He sometimes falls down and dies.
But
now, apparently, and this I thought was another interesting Easter egg. The two Doink the Clowns that wrestled against ICP for the JCW tag team titles were.
I think it was Dink and Doink. I think they called him Dink and Doink or something.
No,
like
it was
that.
actually Doink the Clown and Doink the Clown, because the gimmick with Doink the Clown is that there is more than one Doink the Clown, and then there's midget versions which are Dink.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So there were two fully grown Doink the Clown men, which were actually portrayed as Doink the Clown by two wrestlers who were in the Battle Royal, Tarek the Great and Truth Martini, who actually is a trainer in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh,
something.
Shit. It was Truth?
Something happened where those two guys botched something in the match, and as punishment, they had to play as Doink the Clown.
I didn't realize one of them was Truth Martini. Truth Martini is like a legend, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Truth
Ring
Martini
of Honor
was one of those
Ring
guys.
of Honor legend.
Mm-hmm. And he still trains people in Detroit.
That's pretty fresh. I didn't realize that he was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those DVDs were legendary. I need to go get them from my mom's house way over there in Louisiana. But yeah, so a lot of memorable moments in it. I remember Evil Dead being the first inaugural champion. I remember the boobies. So yeah.
Now, another thing too, which spawns off, is that two things. One, ICP was meant to be the only tag team champion at the time until they did a rebrand, and later ended up actually allowing teams to come into JCW to vie for the championship title.
I remember them facing off against like at the time like a gay wrestler. I forgot.
A gay trios tag team.
Yeah. Big Flame, Neil and Bob.
Yeah, I remember them. oh, what was his name? There was a lot of good stuff on there. I remember Nozawa was a big fixture of JCW at the time.
And when he came into part 3,
I know
I've got my cat kind of clawing up.
Another special guest, the cat.
Right. So, like, another thing too is that at some given point in time, Vampiro became the JCW World Heavyweight Champion, and at the same time, Insane Clown Posse was doing guest spots
On
in WCW.
with the Deadpool. So it was Raven, Vampiro, and ICP. Yes, and that's when JCW, the World Heavyweight Championship, made a name for itself via WCW. And I mean, ICP were doing commentary with Mike Tenay and Tony Schiavone.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Violent J and Shaggy. It was 3D and Guido.
Ah, yes, my bad. Yes, 3D and Guido. Yes.
Corrected again! Corrected again! I'm just playing.
Man,
I know way too much more. I'm chomping at the bit here to try to keep kayfabe here. Like, they just happen to look the same.
Yes. Very, very similar face paint. But yes, they were. It was 3D and Guido, Diamond Donovan Douglas, and Handsome Harley Guastella on the commentary booth with Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay discussing JCW and the world champion in Vampiro. Just doing their thing. So
I wish I was a fan of WCW at the time. Like I missed out on all of that with the Deadpool. They say like they need to release a book, kind of like Behind the Paint, just on their time in WCW. They said it was so much, and they experienced so much. They talk a lot about their experiences in WWE or WWF at the time, but WCW not so much, because they said they could fill up a whole book with the shit they did in WCW.
Yeah, in the in Violent J's audiobook for Behind the Paint, he did say that there was a chapter that was dedicated to their run in WCW.
I remember that.
Somehow had gotten lost.
I remember
but
that.
now you can basically go watch any wrestling shoot with Insane Clown Posse. Violent J will say everything that happened in WCW.
He's done interviews. Jay's done interviews with Booker T and with
Sean Oliver. He did one with Sean Oliver as well, U-Shoot, and he went on and on about some of the stuff that happened in WCW. I think my favorite story is Shaggy and Vampiro ribbed Violent J by banging on a booth, and out pops Chris Benoit.
What the
screaming at them, being like, "What are you doing? I'm trying to cut a fucking promo."
Yeah.
And everything.
That would be
fucking story.
That would be one guy I'd be afraid to like get his attention in a negative way.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like WCW, that was legendary. They had a legendary run there. Way more so than WWE.
Now, would you consider their one night appearance in ECW as having an ECW run? I mean,
I wouldn't think so. I remember them jumping around the ring or whatnot, but
then they came out, and then
he did pull off a cool moonsault.
No, it was RVD and Sabu came into the ring, and RVD hit a roundhouse kick on Jay.
Yep. I do believe
didn't RVD bust Jay's eardrum, and Jay had to go get an emergency surgery to get it repaired?
Yeah,
I think I remember them actually having a match, and I think I remember Jay landing a moonsault in ECW, if I'm not mistaken.
No, like that was literally their own appearance in ECW was during one of their pay-per-views. And they were basically hyping up the crowd. RVD and Sabu came out, who were heels at the time, and beat the shit out of them. uh, which is actually very interesting because like they thought, okay, look, Sabu, like they have known Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Violent J got his start into actual professional wrestling as Dropkick Daryl Daniels back in the day, and in the locker room with him were Rob Van Dam and Sabu. So they had been friends this entire time. So he thought that, okay, maybe they might go light. No, not at all. No, they stiffed Violent J hard to a point where he ended up he popped his ear. He had to go to the hospital. He had emergency surgery to get his ear fixed.
Because they had a show. They had a show the next night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But like even Violent J said the entire time he was just like, I'm in a lot of pain, but this was the shit.
But yeah, and then around that time, what time was it when the video game actually came out?
So the video game, the first Backyard Wrestling, came out in 2003, and that was actually during the same time like Backyard Wrestling videos were starting to come out. If you were watching, Comedy Central, if they, like at night after like 1 a.m. or something like
Midnight,
that,
1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they like if they weren't showing Girls Gone Wild vignettes, they were showing stuff for Backyard Wrestling videos. And this actually got Kevin Gill, who at the time was working for Eidos, the idea to
he was one of the original developers on GTA, actually, which is Kevin pretty Gill fresh. Was? Yeah, he was. He actually used to work for Rockstar.
That kind of makes sense as to why he would try to do what he did for Backyard Wrestling, which was utilizing the environment in order to use the wrestling and stuff. But Backyard Wrestling back in the day was actually starting to get really, really big. It was like, popular in a sense because like you had promotions like ECW and Combat Zone Wrestling that were doing their thing. Very hardcore shit that normally you would only see in Japan. Here in the States, people were doing this in their backyards, and very innovative, even though very dangerous. But Kevin Gill ended up coming up with the idea of utilizing Backyard Wrestling because he is a huge wrestling fan. Kevin Gill was also a Juggalo, and he knew that ICP had a history of doing backyard stuff when they were kids. So combining all of that stuff, especially with the sexy strippers and porn stars like Tyleen Buck and Tara Patrick, yep, and combining all
of this SP knew that
into the video game, which at the time they were promoting this in 2002. During that time, Insane Clown Posse was in their Wraith Shangri-La.
And shortly after that is when they had started popping up in TNA Wrestling. First invited as guests of Jeff Jarrett, which they got involved in the Jeff Jarrett versus Eric Watts match, and sprayed down Jeff Jarrett with a couple 2 liters of Faygo, and then that led to them actually having full-on matches in TNA Wrestling. And then of course, you had Sanjay Dutt, who was in the Backyard Wrestling video games. You had, I think, a couple other TNA wrestlers in there as well too. So they were a big part of it. That was a good way to cross promote and get, some joint, wrestling company promotion going on. So
yeah. And what I personally feel makes this game too is the soundtrack. Obviously you're going to have songs from Insane, but during the time you also had metal bands like Spineshank, pop punk bands like Sum 41, Bowling for Soup. You had Andrew WK, Twisted, Dark Lotus.
I remember Andrew WK was a playable character, wasn't he?
Yeah, in the first one I believe he was.
Yeah.
But they also had a specialty thing for the first Backyard Wrestling. ICP ended up having some some kind of contest where a regular Juggalo could
He
actually
was-
become a playable character.
He was actually in part
Yeah.
2 also. Andrew WK says it back here. He's featured in it, and this is the second one. Not trying to correct you, Mr. Kreyz McKormik, but
No, you're fine. Well, I mean, like Andrew WK, this was an interesting thing with Eidos was like they ended up. I find this interesting. So you have Andrew WK as a musician in both of the Backyard Wrestling games, and he's a playable character. Insane Clown Posse and Twisted as playable characters. Their music is also in the video games as well. A different game, 25 to Life, had Blazy Dead Homie,
I remember
but
that.
also
yeah.
had Tech 9 as not only a musician in the game, but a character online mode. So Juggalos were basically at that point just completely taking over video games. Per
And
se.
you
Not
can't
only
remember-
video games. I mean, you had other wrestlers who were using, entrance musics of theirs as well too. I mean, you had Shannon Moore, who, when he was the Prince of Punk in TNA, he came out to Chicken Hunting.
Mhm.
So
Well, even before that,
You had Forrest Griffin, UFC's Forrest Griffin coming out to ICP in the UFC. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Little known fact, but the Hurricane is also a Juggalo.
yep,
Oh, really?
I found
got
that
to
out.
meet him. I got to meet him at 2013 gathering, and he was a cool dude. It was him, Brian Kendrick, and Shelly Martinez just walking around, and
Nice.
yeah, I've always been a big Hurricane fan.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Now, this video game actually, like the first video game, actually did have some problems. Now, this is the second one. This is the first one.
The first one was very rough, bro. I know you remember that. It was pretty rough.
Dude, the
I'll
worst
be
part
honest
about
with you.
this
That's
video
why I
game was-
didn't even get the first one. I just got the second
Yeah.
one. I'm being honest.
The first one's biggest issue was heat seeking. Like it was basically heat seeking bricks.
It was
So, like,
it
if
was
you-
too floaty. Like, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like the thing with it was like you could pick up a weapon and throw it like a projectile, such as a baseball or a brick or something like that. And for some reason in the coding, like even if you tried to run at an angle to get away from it, it wouldn't move straight. It would actually follow. So that became, so that was like one of the biggest things. But
Yeah,
with
the
back
first
in-
one was very rough.
Yeah, the first one was rough, even in controls. But in the second one, they bettered the controls to try to make it have a more similar feel to the SmackDown games, which were popular at the time as well. Oh, and the second one, gotta love the fact that there's New Jack,
Oh yeah.
and New Jack was also in the story. He stabbed Kevin Gill in the forehead. And
Yeah, he just
that's
grabs
why he
him.
did a cheeseburger.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
grabs him by his head. He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot something." He grabs him, puts him in a hug, and just starts stabbing him in the face. That was
Right.
crazy as shit.
As the and then the second back, like both of them had a storyline mode, which the first one was kind of just like Kevin Gill as a talk show host interviewing wrestlers, and that was it.
I can't. There was one part. I remember I couldn't get. I can't remember if it was the first or second game. I couldn't get past the story mode because it was like a tutorial, like kind of to the where you had to like reverse somebody, but you had to press the same button as the computer, and I could never get past that part for some reason. So I never could complete the story.
Yeah. Oh, and I just noticed this too. So this is something that we could probably put in our back pocket for later. On the cover of the first Backyard Wrestling, M-Dog 20 Matt Cross and
Mhm.
Josh Prohibition, who were very popular indie guys back in that time. Those two guys work so well together, which unfortunately you don't get to see all that much in JCW Volume 3 because Matt Cross breaks the middle rope and lands on his fucking nugget.
He actually mentions that in which will be a topic later. He actually calls back to that in Lunacy.
Yep, that's why I said put that in your back pocket because we're going to be talking about Matt Cross in a minute.
All
So,
right.
I mean, don't forget. I mean, Psychopathic and ICP have had numerous influence on pop culture itself. I mean, you had a lot of their posters and stuff like that in the movie Be Cool, Ready to Rumble, the final scene.
We had a Juggalo in
there's a dude
GTA 5.
wearing a Jekyll Brothers t-shirt. I mean, was it their song Chicken Hunting was supposedly in the film The Great White Hype, but I believe that got cut from the film, from the final print of the film.
I think so
I mean,
too.
obviously the Gathering of the Juggalo spoofs from Saturday Night Live, Workaholics, American Dad,
Squidbillies as well.
Squidbillies, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
There was a reference to them in Rick and Morty.
That Netflix
Rick
show,
and Morty.
I forgot. There's a Netflix show, like an adult cartoon on Netflix show, and they have an episode.
Brickleberry. No, not Brickleberry. Paradise PD, I believe is what it was.
I can't remember. It was like they go to a campground, and they're like, ICP is like part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, they control finance.
In the cartoon. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. My wife loves that cartoon. I remember watching only that episode with her.
Some of the other things that I can remember is when you're watching the meth cook in the movie Spun, he's watching JCW Volume. And there was a recent episode of that 90s show. There's a kid wearing a...
Yeah, but it's that bootleg Walmart Riddlebox shirt that
I
came
know.
out like a handful of years ago. It's and that's one thing that I told my wife. I'm like, if they're gonna rep it as actual 1996 Riddlebox, then it needs to be the old school, like full Joker's card Riddlebox.
I mean, like, you and I as OG Juggalos, we can sit there and laugh at their misfortune because it's obvious.
I'm kind of OG now at this point.
That shit. Okay, he and I as double OGs.
Well, see, what's funny is I didn't realize that was so. When I first got into wrestling, it was summer 1998, and the Oddities were on WWF TV. And seeing these two rapping clowns, I'm like, hey, I dug the gimmick, not realizing that they were actual rapping clown musicians and everything like that. And then I remember in Target seeing the Jekyll Brothers album. I'm like, that's kind of interesting, and I just never thought about it until a buddy of mine named Van, he actually fully introduced me to their music, and I believe it was the Bizarre double album that he actually introduced me to, and I actually started looking through. I'm like, hey, I know these guys. Like, I remember watching them on WWF and WCW and stuff like that. And he's like, oh shit. He's like,
I didn't,
oh yeah, they're actually musicians.
I didn't realize who they were. Like, how I discovered them was I found a copy of Beverly Kills at a garage sale, and I didn't realize they were the same ones in the WWF. So,
yeah. Like, the biggest issue that they had when they were doing the WWE run was the fact that they were promised that they were going to have their Jekyll Brothers promo. Yeah, and they never did it. Nope. So that was a big worry for them. Is like, okay, look, we're legitimate musicians in the doing this stuff in the wrestling business, and if we don't have this come out, then people are not going to know that we're actually musicians. They're going to think that we're just wrestlers.
And that's why they walked out of WWE, correct?
It was a handshake deal, and then they weren't getting paid for their time in WWE either. Like, so I think per the book, Jay called Alex and was like, hey, did they air our commercial? Alex said no, and they dipped.
Yep.
As they should have.
But now, because of their history with WWE and UCW, and I guess you could possibly even say ECW, they are trying to, more Rude Boy than anybody else is trying to get them into the WWE.
And they have every right to be in there. Granted, it was for essentially just a few months, but I mean, I remember seeing signs in the crowd, during that time, Hatchet Man, Joker Bart, Joker Card.
Well, not just that, but they have their time in WCW. They have their time in WCW, and WWE owns WCW, so that should count too.
I remember being at a WCW event and me and a bunch of juggalos just trolling the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. You know, so like we're all just standing where the cars are. Jeff Jarrett comes out. We're all talking shit. Jarrett just flips us off and gets in the car and takes off.
That's freaking great.
People painted up and all that other shit.
Do y'all want to move on to Bloodymania?
We can go ahead and do that.
That's one I don't remember that much, but yeah, there we go. Bloodymania.
I mean, obviously, Bloodymania was just strictly a gathering event only, where it was one night where it was all nothing but hardcore matches, you know? So, obviously, it was always going to be like close to the last night of the gathering. I mean, just think about how many WWE, WCW wrestlers. I mean, there was a year, I think 03 or 04, where it was TNA versus JCW.
Yep.
Hell, even a certain Claudio Castagnoli, aka Cesaro, was one of their tag team champions. So
I remember the Ring Riders being around a lot, and I mean that was Ohio is for Killers.
And those guys are talented as fuck.
Oh my gosh. They probably one of my favorite tag teams of all time, even though now they're, I mean, I think it's one of them's canceled pretty much.
And see, like, I feel like with Bloodymania, like this actually, like, it became like Bloodymania started to become an annual thing. So every year at the gathering, that was the main attraction.
That was the final wrestling night.
And I feel like that this actually did help create a little bit of legitimacy to JCW, going from Juggalo Championship Wrestling to actually becoming Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I do like that is good that they changed the name to Juggalo Championship. If they want to be taken seriously as a viable like indie promotion, that was a good move on them to change the name to Juggalo Championship.
Yeah, I mean, like there were a lot of from what I heard, there was a little bit of in the in the back rooms, in the locker rooms and stuff, that JCW was not getting a very good name because they wanted it to be a legitimate thing. Like, this is Violent J's passion, is professional wrestling side of the music industry, and like calling it Juggalo Championship Wrestling, I think that there were a lot of people in the promotion that, while they may take the money to be booked on the shows, they probably weren't giving it any respect just because
they weren't actually taking it seriously. They're like, well, what are you gonna do? You know, you work for this thing here, and it's championship. You know, obviously a sign that they're not fully respecting of what we do as professional athletes. So yeah, I mean, I gotta kind of agree that, you know, changing from shit to ship was definitely the right call.
And the first time that it was called Juggalo Championship Wrestling was actually Mike Tenay calling it in WCW when ICP invaded WCW Nitro. But then after that, you know, it just goes back to Juggalo Championship Wrestling, because obviously you can't say that on live TV. But I feel like that there were a lot of other people that, you know, were just like, oh, it's just some mud show wrestling promotion run by a couple of clowns. And of course, stuff like that is going to get heard by somebody like Jim Cornette, who obviously doesn't like underground mud show shit. You know, he just looks at that shit and stares and motherfucker. So
he'll be all right.
Yeah, but I mean, he kind of seems to like just I don't know what Jim Cornette like.
He likes the old school
way.
way.
Very smart and intelligent in terms of wrestling lore and stuff like that, and on how to work an actual great show. You know, there's no doubt about that. But some of his takes are kind of outdated and
he likes to keep
kind of
wrestling
horrible.
very traditional. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like to
Yeah,
try
I
new
mean,
stuff.
in some cases I agree with Corey, in some others I don't. Like there are certain things that you do kind of have to keep up with on the times. But I do, you know, for the most part, I do believe you have to keep it as modern as. But there are still things that you should keep in a traditional sense. So some of those things that Corny says, I can. As a Juggalo, though, like he automatically, you know, I think that might be the case. It's interesting because there are certain things that I have heard him say that seem kind of contradicting. Like he hates hardcore wrestling, but he loves the fuck out of New Jack. But like when it concerned like his relationship, I guess I could say, with the Juggalos, like he hated us and ICP and the promotion that we all watch based off of, I think it was like Rude Boy, Corp, and somebody else came in during one of his.
He hates Colt Cabana with a passion. I know that.
Oh wow, that I did not know.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
he
He
hates
doesn't.
him
He
even
doesn't.
more
He
now.
doesn't like comedy wrestling. Is his thing?
I mean, like, yeah, I know because of stuff that happens with, you know, some of the AEW guys stand. You know, like he hates Orange Cassidy.
Oh, he hates. He calls him Olivier.
Yeah,
Freaking.
it's to the point where you hear it from Courtney so often you can't even.
Yeah. He hates. Freaking. He hates the Young Bucks. He hates. Freaking. Kenny Omega. Like the dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't like anything. They can do like they can put on the greatest show and he'll still find a way to hate on it.
Yeah, well, mostly because like in Japan, you know, Kenny Omega was wrestling blow up dolls and shit.
And a broom.
Yeah.
And an invisible wrestler.
Yeah, which I mean, like in a comedy wrestling, you know, that makes sense, but you know, in a real show, that's just like kind of break the cake.
But the way I feel about wrestling, I think it's, you know, it's a mixed bag. You can, you know, like it's something for everybody. If you like comedy, you like comedy. If you like hardcore, you like hardcore. If you like traditional wrestling, right. You know what I'm saying? Something for everybody.
But when it concerns like trying to tie this all back into the whole JCW thing, I think that maybe Jim Cornette's ideals of us as Juggalos, you know, us as wrestling fans, JCW itself, the people who are booked, and just hearing all of the things from the older wrestlers that have been booked in the past that did not like being at like JCW for gathering shows and shit like that. I think that maybe his anger and hatred for us and the promotion probably could have been like, you know, a guiding light for Jay to be like, okay, we need to change it up so that way we can make this a little bit more serious. Like we want to be seen as a legitimate wrestling promotion and not just some comedy fun bag.
Yeah, and that's why I think it was a good call. Now around the Bloodymania time, I think this was maybe after, like at the we had the whole debacle with Corporal Robinson, which was the JCW champion. I liked Corporal Robinson. I thought he was great, but then apparently he was up to some shady shit. So, give y'all takes on that.
So I was at the gathering in 2012 when I found this out. So Corp had been the champion, I think, for 2 years at this point in time, and really representing us as Juggalos. Well, it might at least I feel that
he came from the same. He was cut from the same cloth as like Evil Dead and Too Tough Tony. He was the guy at the time.
Yeah,
and
you know,
Rude Boy had been out of the picture for a minute because of his, you know, various health issues and stuff like that. And then it was around 2011, 2012 when Rude Boy started making a comeback, and he saw what Corp was doing. According to Rude Boy, Corp was going down to the warehouse and just loading up bags of jerseys and shirts and stuff like that. And apparently the whole gathering thing is he was swiped like a shit ton of gathering passes and was selling them on the side.
Like that part I didn't hear. Like what I heard was that the gathering tickets that he was selling were bootlegged, and so people were buying them from him, and then when they would come into Cave in Rock, Illinois to go to the gathering of the Juggalos, they weren't being accepted. And so it come to find out that Corp was buying them, or Corp was selling them to people, and they were fake tickets. So word got in the ear of the clowns. They stripped him of the title and fired him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember,
I remember seeing the security guards rolling around in golf carts with picture of Corp on their steering wheels and stuff like that. And apparently he was able to sneak into the gathering, because I was working merch for Wolfpack up there by the Psychopathic radio stage, and I see him come walking from the back somewhere. I'm like, what the fuck? How the hell did you get in here? And he went and he's like, hey, where's Daddy Longlegs at, whoever? And I said, oh, like they're over there in the fifth wheel and stuff like that. And he walked off over in that direction. I never saw him again. But yeah, it was a big deal. And they were setting up for the team Rude Boy versus Team Corp match that was supposed to happen towards at Bloodymania that year at the gathering, and it never went down.
Yeah, what I remember is after the ICP seminar, I was inside the tent and somebody dropped Corporal Robinson's phone number. So I'm pretty sure that he got his phone blown the fuck up. People texting him.
I was friends with Corp. I was friends with Corp. I had helped him out a few times when they were on tour and stuff like that. And I mean, he, as far as I knew, he was always cool. But no, I think I had a friend of mine who got burned by one of the Corp gathering ticket scams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like me coming into the gathering of the just a park in the parking lot. Like there was a lot of delays trying to get in because of those fake tickets.
I think he released a book years later. Am I correct? I think he actually, look it up. I think he actually has a book out about the whole thing.
I can look it up. I know that Tom Dubb had released.
Oh, it may have been Tom Dubb. Okay.
Yeah, Tom Dubb did.
Thinking of. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was Corporal Robinson, but it was probably, I know Tom Dubb had a book out. Okay.
But yeah, no, after that 2012 gathering, he like dropped off the face of the earth, and I think he popped up like once or twice and then was never heard from or seen again.
I think he did a couple of indie dates years later, but then yeah, nothing else ever since.
And he's another one who, if you've seen his forehead, it's like paper thin, where you just push it in and he just starts bleeding.
Yeah, you can see it right there in the picture I have. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because I liked him. I thought he was a good champion, but then you got to be straight up. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's giving you a chance and somebody's supporting you, you can't do some underhanded shit like that.
So according to cagematch.net, his last, I guess, appearances were in 2021, and it looks like he did actually have a JCW title. He did have a match in JCW. It was a 20-man battle royal.
So apparently they let him come back, huh? That's crazy. I never thought.
But it was only one match.
They're probably like, okay, you're in. doing this, and then you need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, here's $20. That's all you're getting.
But no,
But,
I thought it was like sometime within the last few years or so that I saw his name pop up somewhere on an indie show or something like that, and I'm like, wow, I haven't seen that name since the last 10 to 12 years.
And so let's see. According to this, like his very, very apparently it's a corporal's farewell match, and he wrestled against and defeated Wellington at WFNW. And that was
the match that I saw, or that I saw his name pop up.
Yeah, that's probably it. Because he only did 4 matches total in 2021.
that's, well, I mean, you got to be up and up, and he wasn't. So let's move on till today. We're gonna go to JCW Lunacy. What we have now. It's been a great show. I've been enjoying it. They've only showed, what was it, like 2 matches that we were at, SP for.
No, they showed a few. They showed Nick Gage versus Colt Cabana,
That
Pondo versus Alexander.
that one.
And
That's the only 2 I remember, but you could be
that
right.
may be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
So
from,
like
that's from
they
Juggalo
have-
Weekend San Antonio that we were at. I saw you in the crowd. I didn't see myself.
This guy right here.
Yeah, I saw you in the crowd with that
Yup.
big ass
I'm
smile.
I'm gonna have to rewatch all the episodes of Lunacy just to see what's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
no,
See the homeboy.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact that they broke up and put only a couple of the matches in episode 3 and 4. I was hoping that they would actually show the full on events both days.
yeah, like
I mean, like-
it's been a good show. Like they've been dropping them like crazy, and I'm just hoping that ICP continue to support JCW, because JCW goes dormant a lot. Like it comes
Yeah.
around, then it goes dormant.
I think Jay wants to revamp it and just start going full balls out with JCW and just trying to do more. I mean, hell, there seems like they're not doing concerts really anymore, aside from their supposed world tour next year. But I mean,
And that's what I'm hoping in their retirement, that they focus on JCW. That's what I'm really hoping for. I
So,
want to see
like-
it around.
So a couple of things that come to mind is that, third time that, like, I would say that this is either the second or third time that JCW has had a full-blown kind of a reboot.
Like
I would say
fourth.
third, because
third or fourth.
obviously, in the early years, and then they did it where they were going to be doing like the monthly shows somewhere down in Ohio, that they had rented a place out that they were going to be doing it, and then it would just pop up here and there. You had it on the Tempest Release Tour in early 2007. Obviously gatherings, would do it there. They would have a pop-up show here and there, and then it was just laid dormant for the longest time. And then now, since Jay's actually fully getting back into doing the wrestling thing, with his the brothers of Construction and NWA Power, going over to New Japan with Madman Pondo, to doing just whatever different indie shows that book him and everything like that. I think it's reignited his love for wrestling. So hopefully now, we actually get more consistency out of JCW. And I mean, it seems like they're getting ready to do it with this whole Train of Terror tour, this 8-day show, all leading up to Hall of Wicked, which I think if you're paying for that $450 golden ticket, whatever, you shouldn't have to pay to get into Hall of Wicked. You just dropped $450 per ticket, to do that. You're doing all these shows, you're having to pay for the hotel, your gas, food, stuff like that. I think you should be able to, like I said, get into Hall of Wicked for free.
Yeah.
Not that $100 discount or $65 discount ticket that they're giving it to you for. I'm like, I just dropped, close, half a grand on ticket, for these shows, and you're gonna charge me an additional $65 to get into the final event? No, I'm sorry.
Well, like I was actually thinking about, before we got into the Train of Terror tour, like this has been another revamp of GW. The last one was Slam TV, where they were trying to come up with weekly episodic things, which at the time, the biggest heel I remember was Tracy Smothers.
Mhm.
And I believe Holy Trent Acid also, or was that?
Holy Trent Acid was a big, was big on that.
God rest his soul.
Babyface. Yeah, like it was unfortunate that we lost Holy Trent Acid in the middle of all of that, because he was doing good with what he was doing. And like, I guess at the same time though, you have Tracy Smothers, who is a natural Southerner.
Rest his soul too.
Repped that rebel flag like a motherfucker, because he knew that was gonna get. Jay knew that was gonna get.
I remember he was in New Orleans, like when I was still live there, and he was at an indie show in New Orleans, and like some people that were selling his gimmicks had on his rebel flag shirts. And I remember some like we were in the middle of the ghetto. Some ghetto guys were like talking like we're about to jump them, and I was like, "Whoa!" I went and talked to him. I was like, "Chill out. It's a wrestling show. It's not real. It ain't about that life." And they I was able to talk them down from it.
Right. But like with like Slam TV was supposed to be a thing, like that was supposed to be the legitimacy of JCW, like to show we're being serious about.
It came and ended so fast.
And that was unfortunate too. Like you have these on DVD, so like
I have both of them.
Like there
like
was.
They're in my living room.
This one with the West Side Wars when they're in Long Beach.
So there was legitimacy with JCW at the time, and unfortunately, it was gone as soon as it came back. Now, after years of dormancy, where like the only time that you would see JCW would be at the Gathering or maybe some pop-up show, but now with Lunacy coming out, you had Bloodymania that year's Gathering, the Juggalo, and now every show for this mini tour, the Train of Terror tour, has an episode of JCW. Jay said at the Gathering of the Juggalos, the IC seminar, that they're going to be trying to run some stuff on, I think it was Triller TV. They're going to be shooting shows at Harpo's in Detroit, Michigan. Like,
is that where they're shooting right now, or
they're shooting like the episodes of Lunacy were, I believe,
some of it was in San Antonio, but then the rest of it was
but like the promos were shot at Harpo's. All of the upcoming shows that are going to be following the Train of Terror tour are all going to be like at the locations that they're going to be touring at. And then
I think, didn't Jay say that the shows they're going to be live streamed, plus they're going to be doing a concert each night as well too after the wrestling part ends?
Yep. So like I know that with Hollow Wicked on the bill, I'm going to be going to Hollow Wicked this year, and the doors.
Lucky, it's right there in your backyard, so you're lucky. We're way down. We're way down here in Texas.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it's a weird flex, but right. Well, like
it's a 3-hour drive for this man to get over from Grand Rapids to Detroit. All right.
Yeah, it is a 3 hour.
It's like a 30-hour drive for us in Texas.
Like, I mean, I've driven to farther locations. Like I drove to DC, and that was in Colorado, bro. Like I traveled nonstop to that job. It was worth it too.
My hat goes off to you. I wish I could have been at the March. I was supposed to go to the March. I had a plane ticket to go to the March, but then I I quit my job, then I got a new job, and that week of the March I started my new job, so I couldn't tell them, "Hey, I can't come." Like,
I would have. I mean,
I
all
would
you
have
have to
quit my
tell is
job.
like, hey, I can't start on this date. I've already got a prior commitment.
And
Like,
I was so worried because I had just moved to Austin, and I was like, I really want to go. I had a hotel, everything booked, and then I was just like, fuck, I start my new job this week. They're like, can you start next Tuesday? I was like, damn it.
I'd have told them, said, no, I'm sorry, I've got already a prior commitment. I could start, when I get back. I have no problem with that. But
I know I should have,
yeah,
but I was just so worried about going and making money.
It was easy for me because at the time I was doing like rideshare stuff full time, so I could go on vacation whenever I liked. The unfortunate thing though is I got stuck in the mountains in Pennsylvania on the way to DC, so that made the trip even longer than it should have. And I ended up making it to DC, which was awesome. Being able to experience that.
Yeah,
but aside from that, like, we derailed.
Big time.
So like, once again, we derailed. But
that's all part of the show, man. That's what makes the show interesting.
I mean, that's the beauty of the Juggalo shit is like all have a variety of different things that we like. It's not just fat rapping clown. Head. We like wrestling, with video games, with movies. We like other music.
Yeah, I'm a movie and wrestling guide. And,
SP's too good for video games.
Toys,
SP's too good for video games, apparently.
Yeah, I like movies. I like music. I like a lot of different types of media. I also like.
I'm just a big ass nerd. I love it all.
Right. Getting back to the JCW thing. So we have this mini tour, and then I believe he said after that it's going to be shows shot at Harpo's. I believe if I remember correctly, he said that there was going to be something involved. Triller TV, which is another online thing, so you can watch that.
That's actually like Jake Paul. That he actually has a partnership with Triller TV.
Okay.
SP is a big fan of the Paul brothers. He's like their number one fan. Yeah, you see, he's number one right there. You see that? He's number one.
Right. I mean, I feel.
Bitch, you painted your fingernails again.
Nope. It's called Color Street. They're like stickers, but it's right there. The old Stone Cold salute. All right, how about that?
It's like every time that he has to think about something in wrestling that he doesn't like, it's hammer time. But like we said before, with JCW Lunacy, like Jay is once again trying to be a little bit more legitimate, and now that the clowns are slowing down, Shaggy Too Dope is doing the Shaggy Show on YouTube every week.
Can I sidebar real quick? Just please. I just want to make one comment, please.
Go ahead.
He needs Keegan back. It's just not as entertaining without Keegan. I don't care what y'all say.
I mean, like Keegan is entertaining either. Like right now, he's doing his.
Yeah, I know, and I watch it too. But it was so much better when it was the Powcast. I'm sorry, that's just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they were great together. I would love to see them come back with Shaggy and the Creep Show. To be perfectly honest, like, I don't want to say this to hurt feelings, but Manny Fresh is very dry, and Manny Fresh is also one of the things that almost turns me off to watching JCW.
Yeah, his commentary is not that good.
He's got no charisma.
His commentary is not that good.
Yeah, his commentary is just like Randy Orton. It's just a complete charisma vacuum.
I have to agree with you there. Poor guy. I see. He seems like a cool guy, but he doesn't have it.
See, like as an old school wrestling fan, I personally feel like King and JR actually broke the fucking mold on play-by-play and color guy. And
Well,
I feel like
King was your just your dog.
He was an
just,
old pervert, bro,
puppies
and it was great.
and
I'm
just
sorry. At the time, it was great.
degrading and
yeah, but like the whole point was like as a color man, he was playing the fucking heel.
right.
So you had a contrast which Manny Fresh doesn't do. Like
No.
Manny Fresh is basically like the tag team guy where everything that the play-by-play dude, I can't remember his fucking name. It really shows how much interest.
straight list.
Juggalo Joe.
Straight list
I can't
Juggalo.
remember his last name, but
He's
Yeah,
like the straight
so-
list Juggalo or something like that. He's actually
Yeah.
pretty good. He's decent.
He's good, but like Manny Fresh is constantly like, "That's right," and then follows up with whatever it is. Like, no, you have to have I personally feel like you have to have a heel color man for that.
It
so that
makes
way
it
there's
more
a little bit of back and
interesting.
forth in there to make it more interesting.
It
That's
makes
what
it more
made
interesting.
interesting for King and JR.
Yeah.
You know, or Juggalo Joe could possibly just go Joey Styles on the show and do it by himself.
I would suggest that. I'm a fan of like the 2-man commentary team. I think when you get more than
Yeah.
2, it's a bit much, but
2 is perfect.
I
And you have
do
you have the-
agree.
Yeah, so you have the straight-laced play-by-play guy, you have the heel,
color
and
commentator.
yep, and that would actually work out so much better than having 2 guys that basically just agree with everything, because it just
Yeah, I mean, you could have, every once in a while, you have your color commentator kind of agree with what the play-by-play babyface commentator is saying, but they still stick by, the heel tactics and stuff like that.
like I remember an episode of Twisted's Purple Show where they argued, where like Jamie Madrox and Blazy Dead Homie argued.
Females in wrestling.
No,
That was one of the
it
topics.
was Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
Jamie Madrox was creating the argument that Michael Jackson was a pedophile, and Blaze was trying to create the argument that it was not. But like he would be like, "I'll accept the fact that he did this, but," and then he would just say something off the piss Jamie off even further. And then at the very end of it, he was just like, "I'll accept the fact that Michael Jackson is a pedophile, but he is an excellent performer in music." And Jamie's just like, by this time, Jamie's just had enough, and he starts hitting Blaze with a chair.
I remember they had that argument, and they had another argument about females in wrestling.
No, it was that was Pickles and
Yeah,
that
and,
was-
and Blaze. Blaze was there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was Blaze.
He's like, "You don't think bitches should be in the wrestling ring?" No, bitches shouldn't be wrestling.
but I like
I
that
like-
titties and ass on the side.
I like
on
my
the
fair share of titties and tender young ass in the ring, but they should not be wrestling, is what Blaze would say.
and then Blaze
like-
hits him with a chair and throws him over the table.
Yeah, no, like he does.
Blaze
He imitates.
Blaze does the cane thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the old purple show.
And I-
Basketball head. that was the shit.
You think it need to look like this? Well, they're not.
Y'all know y'all questioned me about my marriage to Britney Spears.
But like that was the beauty of it, was like you had one person that was creating the argument, and then you had another person who was opposed to the argument, and it works the same way, I feel like, with professional wrestling commentary. Like you have the play-by-play guy, have another person who would be like, "I accept the fact that this happened, but blah 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 blah," just to argue with the other person about the sentiment. Just it created more interest, and Manny Fresh just does not do
I think
that.
it's more than that. Manny Fresh, he doesn't have it, man. He doesn't have that certain. You know?
His voice is very laid back and chill, and the only person who can actually speak on the mic that's laid back and chill and actually make it sound good is Rob Van Dam.
Because he's high most of the time. So
Well, okay, maybe 2. The other person would be Jake the Snake Roberts, because Jake the Snake Roberts never yelled.
yeah, and he still sounded just as scary as if he was.
Well, that was because he was on cocaine.
And I think he has a throat problem, don't he? He has some type of where he doesn't have as many.
now.
He doesn't have so many vocal cords as the rest of us. He has a condition where he can't yell.
Yeah, see, like him talking in a very quiet voice just made him sound even more
Was
menacing.
so fucking sinister.
But like, other than that, like the wrestling in and of itself in JCW Lunacy is actually very entertaining. It's actually been pretty good. Some of the things that they have done with JCW Lunacy has been interesting. One of the things that I will point out is the Congo Kong having a midget for a manager.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And then what was it? We were just talking about this before we went live. Was that ICP has announced that Nick Nemeth and one Mr. Ultimate Bro Matt Riddle have been added to the shows. I believe Devil's Night shows.
Yep.
Which will be live streamed. I should have had
so
a picture up for that, and I totally forgot. My bad.
I mean, like we were spitballing, before we went on the air, and like that was just brought up. So like you didn't have enough time for it. Just like,
yeah,
let's go. but that's cool though, because Nick Nemeth being on there, and I believe he's current TNA champion, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He retained against Moose at this past weekend's TNA Victory Road pay-per-view.
And it really
which
shows,
SP was at, and I'm jealous, but yeah.
But it's showing
the sign.
It's showing some legitimacy to but JCW.
Let's admire his sign real quick. He had that smeared in blood. He wanted to show that on our last episode.
From the Texas Death Match between Santana and JDC, formerly known as Fandango from WWE, but they came through our area where we were sitting at, and it was a bloodbath. And your boy's like, I'm leaving here with something on this sign, whether it's an autograph or something. So I just, as soon as the match was over and we were all walking out, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. And I just dipped my sign down into the blood and just got it everywhere as I could. So, there you go.
$5 to lick it. $5 to lick it. That's
dope though, man. You got juice.
$5 to lick it.
You need to come up with something more than just $5.
I'm on a budget.
It was like $30 to give SP HPV.
But this dude even has the can he smashed over his head when the freaking Sandman, like he did a beer bash and he still has the fucking can. Like, you keepsake motherfucker.
By Sandman on the bottom.
Keepsake ass motherfucker.
Like I was, since you were talking about Sandman, like I have a kendo stick around here somewhere and I don't know where it is.
Ooh, you have a kendo stick. I want one.
I got it at the first DCG Con in November, and I brought it with me to Super Gathering. Found out Sandman was going to show up at the event, and I wanted him to sign it.
Would you let him whack you with it?
Yes.
Oh,
I would have done that. Like, that could have been. That's almost as good a signature as Flair giving you a chop.
Yeah, I've got one in my closet in my toy room here. So.
Am I the only guy without a kendo stick? God damn it.
Huh?
Am I the only guy without a kendo stick?
Yeah.
I need to get a kendo stick now.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get him.
Can I Amazon one? Like, I may need to Amazon a kendo stick.
Maybe. Unfortunately, I was not able to get him to sign it because I saw him at the show. He wasn't even wrestling during the big JCW versus ECW match. He was too busy fucking with people in the front row. He was fucked up on shrooms and Molly.
Whoa.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. That sounds par for the course.
After the match was done, he got in the ring and he admitted it. He was just like, and then he's like, I love you guys. Can I get a woo woo? And like, it's whoop whoop. He goes, woo woo whoop whoop. I don't give a shit. I'm high as fuck on Molly and shrooms and I don't give a fuck right now.
That's the best shit ever. All right.
But still, like, when you watch JCW Lunacy, the matches are actually pretty incredible. Having Nick Nemeth and Matt Riddle coming into the show for Devil's Night is actually pretty good. And even on Lunacy itself, they already have one major player, which is Cowboy James Storm.
Yep.
So he has been a pivotal factor in JCW so far with
that asshole turned on the Brothers of Construction, which I kind of like understood that, because like, dude, what better stable would he fit with other than the Southern Six?
Right.
Like he's tailored for that.
They're all fucking billed from, the mid-South areas, like Kentucky, Tennessee. He's from Tennessee. As soon as I heard that, the ring announcer, I'm just like, I smell a heel turn.
Yep.
Coming this way. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and
like
exactly what happened.
That's exactly. I remember that one guy, the Thrill Billy, Silas Young, I think his name is. What's his name? SP Silas.
Oh, you know more about
the Thrill Billy. I saw him when I lived in North Carolina at a little bitty ass like nothing wrestling show at a strip mall that I just happened upon out in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina. I was like, this dude is gonna be huge. And it's cool to see him actually doing stuff. That dude, I do see him probably one day be in WWE.
Here's a thought. Is it just me, or is the WWE also currently doing a promotional, like a cross promotion with TNA at the moment?
They are. They're owned by the same company.
So TNA and WWE are underneath the TKO group. So
okay,
they're both. Yeah, so that's why you got a lot of crossover between TNA and NXT, and apparently Joe Hendry has hinted that his time in NXT is coming to an end.
Yeah, I was just about to say his name.
Wait, what?
He shall appear.
That would be so crazy if Joe Hendry would pop up on our podcast right now.
Yeah, because he did say his name.
Yeah.
But like,
so his time is coming to an end in NXT? Did you just say?
Sorry?
His time's coming to an end? Did you say his time's coming to an end?
Yeah, he's hinted that his time in NXT is starting to come to an end. Well, so kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but at this past Saturday's TNA Impact tapings, they actually taped 2 Impacts, kind of right in, but we're like going right along with each other. And so you're gonna have Frankie Kazarian versus Joe Hendry to become for the number 1 contendership for Nick Nemeth and the TNA title. And yes, the Mr. We Believe in Joe Hendry is gonna be your new number 1 contender for the TNA title.
But damn well, as soon as that TNA contract ends, Mr. Paul Levesque is gonna break open the pocketbook. Damn well that's happening.
Dude, I guarantee that's gonna happen.
I mean, have you seen the amount of likes and views that the Joe Hendry video got on TikTok?
Oh yeah, everybody, dude. I heard his fucking theme song in the store the other day. Like,
dude, I saw a TikTok where a guy was tied to a chair, and the guy who tied him to the chair said, "Do you have any last words?" And the guy just goes, "Say his name and he appears." What are you doing? I believe in Joe Hendry. And then all of a sudden the music video is playing and he's clapping. But I was thinking to myself, I find that interesting because I know that TNA and WWE are doing a cross promotional thing. You've got Nick Nemeth, who's going to be in JCW on Devil's Night.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also in what I believe it was the last Lunacy episode, one Mr. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder. I mean, Zack Ryder's dead. Zack Ryder is dead. He is no longer alive. We have now
Woo
Matt
woo,
Cardona.
fuck you.
I have to interject on this. I don't mean to intrude, but this reminded me. When I was doing my Uber days, I actually had Matt Cardona in my backseat.
That's fucking fresh.
Yeah.
So how hard did you blow him?
Oh, dude, I fucking blew him hard.
A buddy of ours.
And trust, he didn't act like Zack Ryder. He was acting straight up like Matt Cardona because I was marking out.
Yeah, Austin Shop down is Out of the Past Collectibles when WWE was here 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Him, Matt Cardona, and Brian Myers actually went into Austin's shop and did some good.
They went into that shop.
Huh?
They went into that shop. That fucking garbage fire. I'm sorry, Austin, if you see this. I loved your shop, but I could not imagine them like.
Yeah, no,
I would go shop there all the time, but it's so hard to find anything over there.
So remember when WWE was doing that that drive along show, whatever?
Yeah,
where they had the cameras in and like they would just drive to the next town after an event.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did here. They just gotten into Austin, and this was when KFC had their Cheeto chicken sandwich or whatever it was. And so they were partnered with KFC, and so it was a scavenger hunt where it was Matt Cardona and Brian Myers against the Iconics, and they each had to go do like 5 different things, and whoever got back to the venue first with all completed won. And so but their big thing is that they went into Matt Cardona and Brian Myers went into Austin shop and got some action figures.
Yeah, Austin shop. That's where I bought my figures for my wedding. Was from Austin shop. Yeah, like that thing, bro. It's hard to walk in there sometimes, but that's why I love it. Like it's so crazy.
Well, they don't have the full thing open anymore. Ever
Really?
Since COVID, they've got it. It's only to where you can only go like so far in, and then it's just like through the aisles on the side.
Like if you don't know about this this dude's shop is just a mess. Like it's just shit everywhere, and you just got to go through it. And,
carefully.
Yeah, carefully, because it could fall on you. And there's no prices on nothing. You should be like, how much you want for this? And he tells you how much you want for it. It's really the best thing ever. Like it's pretty cool.
Austin's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
But
he kind of gets all the
great.
Juggalo shows in Austin, Texas. But what were you saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it was cool. I just wanted to bring up the Matt Cardona thing. Yeah, he was not I mean, like, he was in town wrestling. I'm sure he was tired. I was taking him to the hotel. This was like right before I think he won the United States.
That's pretty cool.
I was just, so I just ended it with good luck on the match.
After you got through blowing him. Oh, we know.
Oh, well, I mean, I was like, dude, I've been a fan of yours since you first came into ECW. You had like some minor feud with Tyler Rex, and he didn't even remember it.
Wow.
I was like, dude, I remember one specific thing, like you said to Tyler Rex, because like you're from the East Coast, he's from the West Coast, and you said something about how y'all got better waves than Rex does. And he was just like, I don't remember saying anything like that. I was like, dude, that's what got me to be a fan of yours.
He's like, I've slept since then.
I've just been following your shit since.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about that guy, bro, he got himself over by using the internet and social media. Yeah, that's why he was the internet champion.
Okay, I was gonna say, I guess I can't have that be my least favorite wrestling belt. Then I guess full circle.
The internet championship. I didn't even.
Oh no, dude, it didn't have any prestige, but just knowing it exists for that specific reason, gives it all the prestige it really needs.
For sure.
But him, I believe, after he got released from WWE, because like his gimmick wasn't going anywhere. And like they kept him in mid-card fucking purgatory hell stat. And so I
Yeah,
believe
they weren't giving him the push that he deserved and that he needed. I mean, the dude was putting in work. Like,
Yeah,
he was
I agree.
entertaining too, and he got himself over on his own volition.
exactly. The fans loved him and everything like that. And unfortunately, he ended up succumbing to the old stereotype of if he who shall not be named doesn't create him, then he
You're
sees
doomed.
no value in him. But yet,
right.
you've got all your fans constantly cheering him on and buying his merch. Like, so the math ain't mathin', you know? So
Mhm.
It was the
I
same thing with Damian Sandow. Like, you know, if you get yourself,
the same
it doesn't
thing
matter.
with broken Matt Hardy, you know?
Yeah. If Mr. Tyrant didn't make you, if Mr. Tyrant didn't make you, then you didn't
Yeah.
stand a chance. But
Yeah.
let's
Look.
move on to our last topic.
Yes,
I was
let's
actually
close it
gonna
out in a
segue.
big way.
I was actually going to segue into that because of the TNA champion coming to JCW, and that is just like it's almost as if it's some kind of an invasion of TNA wrestlers, AAA wrestlers in Matt Riddle, and in a most recent episode of Game Changer, JCW wrestlers were in there, and they're all former JCW World Heavyweight Champions, and Violent J ended up making that they want to have a 2-day war with GCW because they're tired of being overlooked and shadow banned. Basically, they want to show that JCW can be a legitimate promotion.
They want to show the world that there is some respect to be put on Team JCW, which I'm all for. And I mean, don't forget, like,
I'm sorry. I feel like the GCW guys are gonna whoop their asses. I'm being honest. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's gonna. I think in the end, I mean, it's gonna be at the Gathering.
Well, yeah,
You
home field advantage.
JCW is gonna,
Home field
but
advantage.
I think it's gonna be tied. But I think at the end, I think JCW will be the one over. You know, it's gonna be
Basically be like how WCW invaded WWE, and where like they were tied at the end of Invasion, or no,
Yes.
they were tied at the end of Survivor Series, I should say, because that's when the Invasion officially ended, and WWE ended up becoming the winners because it was a WWE pay-per-view, was their turn. And I feel
But yeah,
like
no, I mean,
I agree. I
you
agree
had-
with that.
I wonder if Joey Janela is going to be in there.
early 2000s, you had TNA versus JCW, you know, and you had a lot of TNA wrestlers who had actually wrestled, you know, in JCW style matches as well too the year prior. I mean, Abyss, R-Truth was there for a couple times, and whoever else. But I mean, this isn't their first time going to war against, you know, a major promotion, so this is going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out. And I mean, we could get a swerve, and Team GCW could end up getting out the win on it.
You think
But
we're going to see Joey Janela in there?
probably?
I would like
would
to
think-
see a tag team match where Joey Janela is with Superhuman.
Oh, that would be fucking great.
Both of
Oh,
them
Superhuman.
Both of them on top of ladders, simultaneously saying, "This is for juggalos and juggalettes. Don't try this at home, and I hope you like it. Whoop whoop. Fuck this shit." And then a
Boom.
double body splash
God.
or something to that effect, you know. And then, of course, Superhuman screaming, "Ah, my fucking back. Cut it. This is live. I don't care. Cut it."
That would be
But-
great.
That would be dope to see at a JCW. Superhuman has actually performed in
Yep.
JCW in a battle royal, I believe. He didn't last very long, but he was in it.
I couldn't imagine
Um,
he's very trained very well.
Now, No, he's good at making fucking bumps. I will say that.
That's probably
But
it.
another factor that you might want to take into consideration with this JCW versus GCW event at the Gathering of the Juggalos next year is Violent J kind of has earned earned a little bit of respect when he went to Japan for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Also, with him and the Brothers of Destruction in NWA, like him and Smashing Pumpkins,
Billy Corgan.
thank you. Like both of them, both musicians, both of them own wrestling corporations, both of them big fans of professional wrestling. So that does show also a little bit of extra legitimacy. He has respect with Jeff Jarrett in NWA. I guess he has an okay. I don't know. I guess in Jay's wrestling career, I'd say like a major downside, other than the fact it's Juggalo Championship to Juggalo Championship wrestling, that he would have against him is being okay with Vince. That would probably be like the worst thing that he could have as a notch on his belt. But
He has a restraining order against Jim Cornette. Y'all know that?
Yeah, because
he does have a restraining order against Jim Cornette. Vince Russo.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like Jim Cornette.
But he literally has a restraining order against him.
Like for somebody who reps New York City, he's such a fucking pussy. But anyways, but like taking a look at Violent J with the potential that he has, and I feel like that with the longevity of JCW, I think it's time to break that curtain and have some, put some stank on JCW as a legitimate promotion.
I really hope they keep the fire under it this time and they keep it going. I don't want to see it become dormant again. I want it to literally be a viable alternative to, the mainstream wrestling promotions.
Well, as you guys mentioned before, ICP is going to be having their farewell tour starting in 2025. They're going to be doing shows in the UK, Australia, Canada, here in the United States, and then after that they're like done. Yeah. And so, short of like, the big four with Hallowicked, The Gathering, Big Ballas, Juggalo Weekend, a couple of pop-up spots with other big festivals and stuff like that, they'll probably be doing those from time to time. But Shaggy's going to be working on the Shaggy Show. Jay, I think, is going to be solely working on JCW. And I feel like that this is the way that they're going to break through the curtain, with JCW becoming a legitimate promotion and be sticking to it after the tour is done.
Yeah.
So
that's what
at
I'm
the
hoping.
end of it, I agree with SP with this invasion that JCW had on GCW. It's going to end up being a tie until the very last match, where I think he already promoted it's going to be Too Tough Tony, Richie Boy Briar Wellington, and one other former JCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Bring back Corporal Robinson. No, I'm joking.
That's what I was going to say. Watch it. They squashed the beef with Corp and
right
back.
No, I mean, like, I can't say that it can be Vampiro, because Vampiro, I believe right now,
he has dementia.
He has dementia and Parkinson's, I believe, as well, because of stuff that has happened to him in his professional
years of abuse and just
mm-hmm.
drugs and just physical abuse from wrestling. And
I mean, like, like Vampiro did great in Mexico, but he also did like hardcore stuff in what was that MTV wrestling promotion?
Oh, Wrestling Society X. I still have the DVDs. Oh my God, gone too soon. That was so awesome.
He did a nail in the coffin on Sean Waltman on a coffin that exploded.
His fireball that he launched into Macias's face is what ended the show. That's what making him take it off the air.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to XPW had came back for a show in 2008 called Cold Day in Hell, and it was Vampiro versus Kid Chaos. That match was like, holy shit! Like Kid Chaos, like literally did a Irish leg or a dragon screw leg whip to Vampiro. Vampiro fell flat back onto the concrete floor from the ring apron, and you could just hear his body just thud onto the ground, and you're just like, God, that hurts.
God damn. That sounds very bad.
Yeah, no, me and a buddy of mine, we were ringside for that, and I mean, we're talking light tubes over the head, tables, trash cans, and I showed coworkers the video that I took on my phone, and they're like, "No, that's fake. That's not real blood." I'm like, "Did you just not see what happened? Like they took 4 like light tubes that were wrapped up across the back. Okay, how is like no,
Right.
this isn't like digital animated or nothing like that. Like
It's so annoying how non-wrestling fans like
Yeah,
it's
they're
totally
blaming
fake.
themselves for real.
Like it's totally fake. No, they don't know how to fake it. They know how to take it. That's a difference.
Right. Yeah, there is a huge difference, and anybody who that you know how to take a
if
bump
it's-
onto a ladder.
if it's across the back or across the stomach or anything like that, you can't gimmick that with the razor blade cuts.
I actually had some wrestling training, and I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that ring is not as soft as what you would think. When I got slammed onto a fucking ring, dude, I was like all my air left out of my body. I was like, how do they do this every night? So
well, that's why they say you got to breathe too when you're taking the bumps and everything like that.
That's probably what I forgot to do.
Yep, that's pretty much what it. I think you might have just like instinctively just tried to hold your breath.
I was just trying to tuck my chin
I think
in.
That's instinct for everyone when they first take a bump is to do that, and you got to learn how to breathe when you're doing it.
And then those ropes, like I ran the ropes like in training, and those ropes pinch, and they're not soft, and they hurt.
Well,
Right?
you
Yeah.
you have to know how to hit them too.
You have to hit them
one,
on your
like,
arm.
if you hit like the middle one the wrong way against your kidney, don't you like end up pissing blood or something like that?
Yeah, and then if you don't hit them the right way, you don't hold your arm over it, you'll fly out. Like if you don't hit it with your arm over it, you will fly out the ring. And I had whelps like right here from when I was hitting the ropes. Like it does not feel good.
Yeah, there's like zero give to anything or outside of the ring because as we all know,
The apron, the hardest part of the ring. They always got to remind you that.
they have to remind you of that. They remind you about that as told you how much the WWE Network is.
But yeah, so this was our love letter to Juggaloism and to JCW, and thank you, Kreyz McKormik, for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
This has been great. It was great chopping it up with you. So yeah, I just hope JCW continues going like it is right now. I hope we get episodes every week and they don't just stop all of a sudden. And well, yeah, we appreciate it, man. So SP, do you want to take us out, bro?
Topic of discussion for our next show: fans that get scammed by wrestlers asking for money. Why do people fall for it?
Oh, freaking what's his name? The $1 Million Champion. I used to stay away from that guy, Virgil. Like he would go up and walk up to you and take a picture. I'd be like, "Oh, Virgil." He would take a selfie with you. He'd be like, $25.
No,
$25.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these people who are pretending to be wrestlers, sending out DMs or whatever, asking fans for money. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, the whole reason why Seth Rollins got attacked that one time. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
But
that is our topic of discussion for our next episode. But for anybody who is watching our love letter to JCW, let us know what you think. Is there something that we should have covered that we didn't? What are your thoughts on ICP's influence in the wrestling world, as well as in various pop culture things? Like, comment, subscribe, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Gonna be coming up with some more, like DKZ said, just more content at you quicker than a hiccup. So
thank you guys. Thank you once again, Kreyz McKormik, for joining us, bro. It was great chopping it up with you. Like SP said, like, comment, subscribe. For SP and Kreyz McKormik. Peace out, guys. Good night, everybody. Woo! Whoop, whoop.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Good night, everybody.
We two loony guys catching eyes with our hype, talking pro wrestling, making all the fans unite. In the ring we swing like a rhyme-making machine with moves so mean, leaving opponents in a dream. You're rocking the mic, forward tight like a rat, them no cliche bull.